everybody, and welcome back to another Kraken Packs video. I am your host, MrBevers. That's right, we're back again with another pre-release kit of Throne of Eldraine. We're going to open this up, we're going to do a little bit of a build, see how it goes. Cut that open like so. Boom, look at that. Perfect. Let us see what we find. And we want to make sure that we get the card out of here. That's the card with the code on it. Right there. If you're looking for pre-release codes, find me on Twitter. Message me on Twitter. Tell me you need a code. Alright, well, we've got a Charming Prince. I normally don't like to look at that until the end, but there you go. We've got a Charming Prince. The reason I showed it to all of you is because I already saw it while I was digging out the other card. So we've got a Charming Prince, which is not bad. Not a bad little card, actually, for limited. It definitely does work. Can definitely do work in limited. So what we're going to do is we're going to break the cards out by color. And then we will look at what we can build with what we've got going on. Okay, so we've got an Iron Crag Feat, which is absolutely garbage in limited. Like, it's definitely not a card that you care about in any shape or form in limited. Paying 3 red and 1 for 7 red mana. I mean, there might be certain scenarios in limited where you're like, yes, this is what I want. But you definitely, it's definitely not really what you're looking for. Being able to drop like maybe a 6 drop or a 7 drop in red on turn 4 instead of turn 6 or 7 shouldn't really be where you're trying to be with a red deck, to be honest. And we got an Oathsworn Knight. So with the Oathsworn Knight, we'll put all our rares in a pile over to the side while we separate our other colors. We got a nice story border art there. Raven's very good. Vantress Gargoyle. Vantress Gargoyle is fine in the right deck. It's not particularly amazing unless you have enough, like, mill, basically. And mill is definitely a serious plan when it comes to this format. Okay, we got another multicolor. Another multicolor. Oh my goodness. Our rares in this kit are just kind of not really things. Kind of not really things. It looks like we would be building a kit here with like very little rares, and we would just be trying to go with whatever our highest power level is outside of that. We don't have any of the big huge derps in green or anything like that either, which is kind of interesting. Okay, Murderous Rider is a pretty good card for limited. I mean, it's a pretty good card even outside of limited. But my point is that it's something that could make you lean pretty heavily toward black. Especially since we do have another black rare that does fall into like a Black Knight's deck pretty easily. And our black hasn't been looking absolutely atrocious, which is okay. We have a lot of lands. And a Doom Foretold, eh? Alright. So our rares are not, like, particularly crazy. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-land, non-token permanent. If that player can't, they discard a card. If they lose 2 life, you draw a card, you gain 2 life. You create a 2/2 Knight. With vigilance, then you sacrifice Doom Foretold. Oh, I see. So the idea is that like this sits on the table, and then you and your opponent just keep sacking things until you either sack Doom Foretold, or you get the trigger, which gives you a bunch of stuff. They discard a card, they lose 2 life, you draw a card, you gain 2 life, you create a 2/2 Knight, then you with vigilance, and then you sack this. So like, it only works once, and you better have enough things on the table to sacrifice to it, because it's a non-land, non-token permanent. So you can't sack food tokens to it, and you can't sack lands to it, so you better have enough creatures and artifacts and things that you don't care about sacking to be able to sack to these until your opponent runs out of things to sack. So that's interesting. Okay, so Murderous Rider, Oathsworn Knight, Charming Prince make us look like we want to go into like white-black knights, maybe Mardu, because we do have the training grounds. And I mean, like, white-black knights lets us play this, and then if we go Mardu Knights, we can play this as well. So I mean, like, those are both good things as well. In our blue, I didn't see a whole heck of a lot that was super amazing. Like, Turn into Pumpkin is fine, but we have 3 of these Mantle of Tides, and 3 didn't say please. Is that what I saw? No, just 2 didn't say please. Yeah, like, our blue is super lackluster. Like, and we have this Vantress Gargoyle, right? Which is a 5/4 flyer for 2, right? But it can't attack unless defending player has 7 or more cards in their graveyard, and it can't block unless you have 4 or more cards in your hand. Each player puts a top card of their library into their graveyard. So it's like it's a decent card. It's just not amazing. So it can block early game, and it's a 5/4 flyer, which is pretty good. In limited, it's probably a bomb, right? But you need the other blue cards to back it up. Our white seemed pretty lackluster, I want to say. Yeah, like, our white doesn't seem particularly amazing. Although it's like, I mean, it's all playable, right? So, like, Lonesome Unicorn is definitely fine. Yeah, Archon of Absolution is fine. Prize Griffin is, like, just a derpy 3/4 flyer for 5. Silver Flame Ritual is fine. I don't know if I'd run 2 of them. I would definitely run 1. Another Lonesome Unicorn, I generally wouldn't run 2 of these, but because we have the Mysterious Pathlighter, I would probably run both. The Fox for sure is very good. This is just a 2/5 for 4, which seems good. And the Silver Flame Squire seems fine. Outflank, I find that this card, like, underperforms every time I have it in a deck or have it in a pool. I play it, and then at best I'm getting rid of like an X2, maybe an X3 if I'm lucky. It's just not particularly amazing. A second Silver Flame Ritual is also a possibility, but I don't know. Let's see how strong our black is. I mean, Bell of the Ball is very good. Wicked Guardian is also good. Forbidden Fruit is fine. Malevolent Noble is fine. What does this do? Flying. When it deals combat damage to a player, each player puts a top card of their library into their graveyard. That doesn't seem like particularly amazing, but it is something you could sack to Malevolent Noble, and it is a creature. It is a 1/1 flyer for 1, so it seems okay. Lash of Thorns seems fine. I probably wouldn't play a second Eye Collector, but maybe I would. I don't know. Memory Theft. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You may put a card that has an adventure. That player, yeah. So, I mean, like, that's just a discard. Revenge of Ravens is just bonkers in limited. Another Lash of Thorns seems also good. It's a 1-mana instant spell that does stuff. Giant Skewer seems good, and Bake into a Pie, and Forever Young. Yeah, so our black is pretty strong, which is good. What about our red? I mean, Joust is fine. It's not particularly amazing, because it's sorcery speed instead of instant speed, but it's choose target creature you control and target creature you don't control. The creature you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn. If it's a knight, then those creatures fight each other, right? So you can just be like, put it onto a big thing, bash in, kill your thing, swing, right? Like, or not even a big thing, but like, say you have a Raging Redcap, which is a Goblin Knight, you put it on here, it gets +2/+1, so it becomes a 3/3. It fights a 2/3, or an X3, right? Provided this doesn't die, you now have a 3-something double striker that you can swing with that will do 6 damage, right? Which is pretty good. So I mean, like, our like, I mean, you can see strongly right here, like Rimrock Knight, Raging Redcap, Weaselback Redcap, all knights. Searing Barrage, also good. Another Raging Redcap. Our red seems pretty decent, right? Like, Thrill of Possibilities, also good. Brimstone Trebuchet. Like, I mean, our red might be stronger than our white, to be completely honest. Like, maybe we just go red black knights, which is also a possibility, right? Like I would say that our red is actually stronger than our white from an aspect of knights and aggro, right? Because like we have 2 searing barrages, and we have a scorching dragonfire, as well as like just literally all knights and a trebuchet. Yeah, like the red seems very strong. Which would mean like this guy's not so much great for this deck because it's black and white and we're going to play black and red probably. But this one's fine. And it's also pretty decent. Which means then, of course, Charming Prince is out, Doom Foretold is out, Murderous Rider would be in, that would be out, this would be in, and this is definitely out. We're not playing that. We could play the tournament grounds to splash some of our white stuff if we want. But like most of our white stuff that's good for like white knights is like things that we would want to play adamantly, or things that cost, well, they all everything costs single white except for the adamant cards. So like this is out, and then the Silver Flame Rituals are out, right? Like we wouldn't want to play them because they're adamant. I think it just ends up being black red, to be honest. And I can look at the green, but I don't think we would even... I think the black and red is too strong to even look at the green. Let's take a quick peek. This is garbage. This is fine. This is fine. This is like an... if you need it. Flaxen Intruder is fine. I actually really like the Mara Leaf Rider, only if you have enough food generation. But like this can end games, because you can literally make their entire team have to block this when you swing with everything else. Like this card, I think, is underrated in a green aggro deck right now in limited. I see people not picking this card and I'm like, I don't understand why. I mean, yeah, it's a 3/1 for 2. I get it. It's a piker, right? Or a little bit bigger than a piker, I guess. But like the fact that it has this ability, sack a food, target creature blocks. If you have like 3 food to sack to this, you sack them to this, and then they have to block this with everything, and then you crash in with like, you know, a 5/5 and a bunch of bears, right? Like, it's just a good card. I don't know if I would run 2, but we have another Paladin. Okay. Sir Win, this guy's not amazing, that's fine. Yeah. So, I mean, like, our green is not terrible, but it's not amazing either. Like, we have double Paladin, which is nice, because they're pretty big. And we have the Sir Farron, which is nice. But like the rest of our green is kind of like lackluster. We don't really have any control or removal in green. Like if we had like one of the suplexing bear cards, I would put that. I would be a little bit more, you know, interested in leaning toward green, but we don't. So I mean, like we get 2 Witches' Cottages, and we can put in this red one if we want, which makes a dwarf. I don't think that's really worth it. I think the 2 Witches' Cottages... I mean, we might not even run both. Maybe you only run 1, just because they do require you to have, like, you need to have 3 or more swamps, other swamps, for this to come. Well, I guess these are counted as swamps, right? So running both is fine. Because if you draw one early, so what? You don't get to use it, but it will help trigger the next one. So yeah. Yeah, alright. You run both. I didn't realize that they actually had their keyword on it. That's interesting. That means that these lands are fetchable. From like the old school fetch lands. I wonder, yeah, I don't know if anyone else has caught on to that yet, but that seems interesting. That makes these things more interesting for things like Commander and stuff, right? Because you can go fetch it when you already have enough other swamps or whatever to then return something from your graveyard, right? Or like make a food token, which lets, maybe you're playing artifacts or something. Put a 1/1 counter on something. Yeah, interesting. I did not realize. So there you go. But yeah, I think we would play red-black pretty easily here. I mean, we have also all these artifacts. The cauldrons are very good. The spinning wheel is also just decent. Mainly because it adds any color, and it can tap down a creature for 5, which can make or break games sometimes, right? Being able to tap creatures down. And the profit's not bad either if you just need a big derp. It's a 5-mana, it's like 6-mana 5/5. It's Scries. Anyway, there you go, everybody. I think we would build black-red here. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. We opened up some okay rares. Nothing super exciting. In fact, we didn't hit any mythics, right? So we hit 3 rares there, 2 more rares here. And then the 1 rare there. Yeah. Oh, and then this Iron Crag. Right. I was like, there should be 1 more. So there you go. We didn't hit any bonuses. We actually didn't hit any... Did we hit a foil? I feel like we hit a foil of something. Yeah, here. The Embereth Paladin. We hit 1 foil. We only hit 1 alt art, and it was the blue fairy, right? This one, animating fairy. And we didn't get any extra rares or anything like that, and we didn't open up any mythics. So, I mean, you know, the pool would be playable for sure. It would definitely be an interesting deck to run. But nothing super exciting in the pool-wise. But anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I've been your host, MrBevers. I hope you enjoyed. And as always, may your pulls ever be better.